All right, up next, Trump has placed borrowing limits to stop the student loan crisis, and women are mad about it.
So today in my life, my practitioner degree is not a professional degree anymore, and it's giving give me my money back. I commented this on another video, but it's giving relieve my loans for my fake degree, please. And I'm not kidding. I'm at a point now where I'm like, if it's not a professional degree, but it's not going to be recognized, if we're not going to bring more people in, if when you go to surgery, you're not likely to have a CRNA to do your anesthesia, if when you go to a clinic or an urgent care, you're not likely to have an advanced practice provider like an MP or a PA treat you, I'm giving my money back. And let me be free. That is all.
When they say that it's not a professional degree, I don't think that's what they mean by that. I think that there's certain guidelines that it doesn't fall under when it comes to federally subsidized degrees. But I'm here to learn. I hope you are too.
So a lot of people are mad on here about the Department of Education changing a lot of degrees from professional degrees to general degrees. A lot of these degrees include things like nursing, engineering masters, business master's degrees. I have a business master's degree myself, and speech language pathologist and other things like that. A lot of people are upset because I think they're under the assumption that this means that our degrees are not professional, or they just demean the value of our degrees. And I had to look into this, and it's not that at all. So basically, they just changed the classification of our degree from a professional degree to a general graduate. So now, to be considered a professional degree, it has to be a doctoral level program or require 6 years of schooling. And a lot of these degrees don't, hence why the classification has been changed. And this is an attempt to help student loan costs and get colleges to lower the cost of schooling. So basically, what the outcome means for us is that there's going to be less money to borrow. So less federal student loans starting July 2026. I think they're capping the amount of money people can borrow, and there's going to be less grad plus loans. So if you rely on student loans, I guess this is bad news for you. But a lot of us who have already graduated, it doesn't really mean anything.
I commend him on actually doing his research before he got on the internet and started to complain like the rest of these women. But it's becoming apparent that these universities, these colleges are kind of practicing predatory lending, because a lot of people are leaving, especially women. They're leaving school with useless degrees and a insane amount of student loan debt. And so there has to be some type of cap to protect the consumer, so that they don't just continue to borrow, and schools know that students can borrow as much as they want, so they can charge what they want for degrees, even if the degrees are useless.
There are huge changes taking place with the Department of Education, and so many people it's a very polarized conversation, and people are giving their opinions on it. But I want to share some facts about what exactly is happening with changes and the difference that is being labeled professional versus non-professional degrees. I don't think people have the full picture, and so I'm going to share some facts about what's really happening here. The first thing to note is that these newly proposed classifications are largely based on cost of attendance and the ability to pay the loans back. So if you are now going to be classified, if you're a graduate level student, that's a non-professional degree. So it doesn't mean that it is diminishing the hard work that you've done. It is just a classification for the purpose of determining loan caps. If you are in a degree field that is beyond that, that's now being classified as a professional degree, I'm going to list what these are. Graduate level or non-professional degrees would be nursing, allied health, PT, OT, PA, social work, etc. Fields that will be classified as professional degree are as follows. You have pharmacy, dentistry, veterinarian practice, chiropractic, law, medicine, MD, optometry, osteopathic medicine, podiatry, theology, plus clinical psychology. Now, there's an obvious factor here that immediately stood out to me. It is the earning potential. So the degrees that are going to be graduate level or non-professional degrees, remember, this is all about loan caps. The federal government is trying to figure out how to reduce the burden of student loans. Why? Because we have a student loan crisis in this country. Yes. We have a ton of people in this country who are not able to safely pay back their loans.
Yes.
They are defaulting on their loans. You can't get rid of the student loan off of your credit. So this is a major burden on U.S. citizens who have taken out money for higher education. And what has happened is that although they're making a living wage, the interest rates are so high and so costly that they cannot afford to live comfortably and pay their loans back in most cases, especially with all of the various changes that happen with loan repayment. And although a lot of people were upset that they're not income-based programs anymore, it is just kicking the can down the road. Although in the immediate you're able to pay less, your interest is literally a death trap. And so it was never going to help either way. It's just a bad situation. And what's happened is you have some people who are saying, well, you should just pay back your loan. You signed it. You're an adult. Yes. Contractually, absolutely, it is your obligation. On the other end of that, the empathetic piece is that a lot of these students are first-time college students who were sold this idea that you must attend college, you must attend university, and although they did not have the economic means to pay for college, and so many of them didn't even have parents to walk them through this process. I can't tell you, when I went to sign up for school, every single student walked into the financial aid office alone.
A lot of the students that are taking out these loans are fresh out of high school, and there's no cap for any of this stuff. So you can see how that could be a problem. And then if there's this unlimited money or unlimited amount of debt that you're allowed to be able to accrue, it creates this event where the cost of degrees increase as well because of the amount of money that people can borrow.
Okay, so they're signing these loans. They do not understand how interest works. They don't understand any of these things. And I think that there's a portion of the country that doesn't understand that, or they do. But either way, we have a problem. And so what the federal government is trying to do is mitigate this. So by changing the classifications, you're going to have loan caps. For example, if you fall now in this graduate level or non-professional degree, your loan cap is going to start at $20,500 up to $100,000. That is the cap. That is the max lifetime that you can take out from federal funding for this particular degree. If you're on the professional level, where you're a high earner who can likely live comfortably and still pay back your student loans, your cap is naturally going to be higher. Okay, that cap is going to start anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 a year per lifetime.
So basically what they're saying is, if based off of how much that degree earns is going to be how much that cap is, so that it makes sense that you'll be able to pay back whatever that cap is based off of your average earning. Nurses don't earn as much as doctors, so they're going to have a smaller cap. That makes sense.
This is all still being negotiated. So the DOE and the RISE committee reached a consensus on these rules, meaning the Department of Education and everyone involved has reached a consensus that this is a major issue and that we actually do need to shake things up a bit. They're also going to open this up for public comment to hear your thoughts and opinions before the final regulation is rendered. So many people online were giving their personal biased opinions. They were saying things like, haven't you seen Project 2025? Or they are attacking female dominated industries. We can do that, but again, I like to live in facts. And the fact is, the number one why is debt regulation. There are concerns with student loans, the way we've been doing it in debt. I think we can all agree this is a problem. So this is 100% an issue that we should be, quote unquote, reimagining. There is a push to tie federal aid to more high value education. Again, more jobs that pay a lot more. And so what this is doing is getting more people to push into those more high earning fields. Mm-hmm. It is getting people who are in fields that maybe don't pay as much, or don't have a higher earning potential. They may look a little bit less attractive. So there are some pros and cons here. Obviously, the con for students like nursing students, etc., is that if there's not enough funding, if you want to attend a university where the cost of attendance is much higher than that cap, you may have to tap into individual funds or private funds, which have a higher interest rate. So that's the downside there. If you're on the other end of it,
but you're going to start to see that less people are going to actually go for those type of degrees. And so the school is going to have to meet the students where the cap is, because most students, they just rely on student loans. They don't really have the ability to pay how much those degrees are actually costing them. Not necessarily worth, but the cost of it.
You're going to go into law school or medical school, it's great. Although likely most law degrees are about 300,000 plus. So you'll likely, in both cases, still have to seek funding elsewhere. The issue that I see is that with the previous Grad Plus loan, which is going to be completely eliminated as of July 1st, 2026, students could borrow a lot. And now the federal government is saying we need caps. We have to have caps on how much they can borrow. So I see both sides of this issue. I'm interested to see how this is going to pan out. We definitely need to shake the table a little bit and get some reform on how we do things with our student loans. But based on just the law, the bill, this is about debt concern. It's not really about targeting women. It's not about targeting any particular group. It is about the federal government trying to shrink itself in the amount of money that it lends to students. And that in turn is going to mitigate a lot of this debt that American citizens are collecting. The only thing is, it's yet to be seen how it is going to impact people in terms of their access to funding if they choose to go into positions that are not, or that don't have, the highest earning potential.
If my memory serves correctly, I think I remember seeing some gender studies expert on like MSNBC or CNN or something like that, some liberal left-leaning channel, parroting that, that women are under attack and, their jobs are the ones that are getting cut the most and their degrees are becoming useless. So it's very refreshing to have somebody come along and actually tell it like it is instead of, bullshitting us with some propaganda agenda.
Since my nursing degree will not be a professional degree, don't fucking come to me talking about my Facebook page, my TikTok page. Oh, it's not professional. It's not this, that, and third. Bitch, I don't need to be professional no more. This is not a professional degree. You will not get no professionalism from me, especially not on the motherfucking internet. I don't want to hear you represent the company. You represent the school. It's not a professional degree. This is McDonald's at this point, bitch. I'm flipping patties.
I just find it interesting to listen to people get on the internet and say a bunch of bullshit based off of what they've been programmed to think. It's like watching The Matrix, Don't worry, I got more.
So word on the street is that nursing has been removed as a professional degree. You gotta be kidding me. Like, I went to college for 4 years. You think about all the hard work that it takes to become a nurse. We're the first people who advocate for you. A doctor half the time can't even do vital signs correctly. It's a mess. And you're gonna say that's not a profession? Y'all, I am so glad I left the profession 5 years ago. Because if it would affect my moolah, affect things in my job by saying I'm no longer a professional, your girl would have been mad. So I'm glad that I found ways to make money directly from my phone. If you've been thinking about finding an extra stream of income, maybe not just quite jumping ships, but just having a plan B, then comment me down below and look at this information that I have. It's been a game changer.
No. And you want to know why? Because you don't even have enough wherewithal to do the due diligence to make sure that the information that you're passing is correct. Especially if you did the time to go and get the degree. Wouldn't you want to know if what they were saying about your degree is actually true before you, commit to feeling negative about it?
And all I'm going to say is do not waste time. Okay? Do not waste time. I remember when it was around 2020, maybe 2021, I was thinking, dang, maybe I should look into the nursing thing. Maybe I should, you know what I'm saying? Like, my goals after college wasn't going the way that I thought. Let me look into it, right? And then all of a sudden, COVID happened. And I let that hinder me from applying sooner, right? And whole time, other people were still applying. Whole time, other people were still doing their nursing courses. Whole time, like, people were still getting their nursing degrees, right? So I just want to encourage you guys that if you are thinking of nursing school, do not wait too long. Honestly, do not let what you see going on in the government stop you from going and pursuing that degree. I promise you. Because guess what? There's always going to be an obstacle. There literally is always going to be an obstacle. I do believe that where there is a will, though, there is a way. So if the government not providing you financial assistance is the issue, find a cheaper school. See if you can find a job that will pay for your school. But stop, it's just some things are out of our control, yes. But for the things that are in our control, like taking our TEAS exam, studying, doing our prerequisites, right? Working and saving money, those are in our control. Do what you can so that way you can become a nurse sooner. I'm telling you, in this economy, this is not the time to not have a degree, to not have a job. I'm telling you that right now. In the next few years, it is not going to be good for those who do not have a job, do not have a degree, those who do not know how to save money, those who do not know how to invest money. I'm telling you right now, guys, do what you need to do in order to advance your life. And obviously, help people along the way. But guys, times are getting crazy. I don't know if y'all noticed. I don't know if y'all peeping. But for real, get it together, y'all. Bye.
She don't even got her shit together and she want to tell everybody else what to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the blind leading the blind. Like, you didn't even go to the nursing school or even get the nursing degree, but you want to tell motherfuckers what they supposed to be doing with their time. How about you get the coal out of your eye before you start talking some shit?
Nursing is not the only program that they reclassified and no longer call it a professional degree. Here's a list right here. Nursing, physician assistants, physical therapists, audiologists, architects, accountants, educators, social workers. The United States Department of Education under the Trump administration reclassified these degrees and no longer considered them professional because they no longer want to cover them under federal student loans. So what does this mean? It does not mean that you can no longer pursue these professions. It means the federal government is not trying to pay for them anymore. So only the people that are trust fund kids or come from family that plans and save for college would be able to take these programs because they're going to have to pay for it out of pocket. It means any students that's pursuing the degrees that we mentioned before, they will no longer have access to higher federal loan limits, which were previously available to them. They will also be excluded from specific loan forgiveness programs. And these changes will create obstacles for those who cannot afford to pay for these professional degrees on their own out of pocket. A damn shame. But don't get discouraged and don't say, oh, I'm changing my major. Because remember, everything can be reversed and changed, especially when he's no longer president.
It's just interesting when you're holding all the cards and you can see the actual facts, and then you look at someone else's perspective based off of the half truths that they know, because we already understand that it's based off of loan caps. So instead of it being unlimited, there's a cap based off of the earning potential of that degree. That's already been established. So her just spewing out this information all haphazardly is interesting. Like, it's interesting to watch. And she does it so confidently, you know?
I don't know. Nursing degrees and CRNA was real professional before y'all got on this app talking about women with extensions, eyelashes, and weaves, and how it was unprofessional in the workplace. What? They didn't just stop unprofessional black women from getting degrees? No. The education department said, all you motherfuckers, doesn't matter. Nursing degrees are no longer considered professional degrees, and a lot of people don't understand why that matters. It's not because of a piece of paper. It's literally because of the way people are able to afford nursing degrees, CRNA, nurse practitioner degrees, federal loans, student loans. And if they're not considered a federal degree, it's going to cap the amount of loans you are able to receive annually and like total above all, and it's not enough to get the degree. So guess what? If you're not rich and you don't have good credit to afford privatized loans, you're not getting the degree, because women's education to this administration is a threat because they're not at home making babies. And the fact that women don't understand that we're all fucked, I mean, black women are double fucked, but we are all included in this fucked up paradigm, and I think it's time to fucking stop. And if y'all would have never got on this app saying that, oh, eyelashes and your eyebrows and your weave is so unprofessional at work, maybe we would still have a professional degree. Y'all tried to gatekeep, and you gatekeeped our ass all the way back to not being able to afford it at all. Which is great, because we know some people will riff off of this and be able to get privatized loans. But this is a direct attack on women and minorities. And this is going to crash healthcare. Places like the Midwest Express clinics that are run by only nurse practitioners, that's over with. So now if you don't have health insurance because you can't afford it, you're just not going to get any help, especially with OB. So there it is.
It's really interesting, man. The victim mindset, I can go so many places with this. It's based off of the earning potential. So if your earning potential can't afford the degree, no matter how much money you get to be able to afford that degree, and you can't pay it back, then you're going to be riddled with student loan debt for a long time. It's going to basically be like an anchor in your life. That's something you don't want, right? But her mindset goes to there being a lack thereof of those professions, when in reality, she doesn't stop to think who sets the price for the degree. Why is a nursing degree so expensive? What happens if more people are less incentivized to go to nursing degrees and no one's paying for it? The way the market works is the school is going to have to meet where the demand is. So if there's a cap there, then they're going to have to lower the price of how much that degree costs to something realistic.
Everybody shut the fuck up. Hey, shut the fuck up. Let me tell you something right now.
If you made it this far, check out the video we just did where ex-felon lets black people know. Stop blaming white people and get to work.